I'm delighted to be with all of you in person and by way of this video this evening, as together we honor the 2017 Golden Apple Award recipients here in the Diocese of Toledo. I salute these educators and all of our educators and teachers who day in and day out help to make Catholic schools vibrant communities where the seed of the gospel is sown and the life that Christ calls us to is witnessed and lived. Our Catholic school teachers make an invaluable contribution to the young people we serve, to the church, and to society in general. These Golden Apple Awards are one way that we can demonstrate the appreciation of the Diocese of Toledo for their good work. The award honorees represent the richness of our Northwest Ohio local church, from Defiance to Delphos, Lima to Maumee, Monroeville to Oregon, and Toledo to White House. The Diocese of Toledo is profoundly grateful that the Golden Apple Awards are made possible by the generosity and kindness of the Jack and Rodora Donahue Family Foundation. The award itself, a beautiful metal golden apple and a check for $5,000, is given annually to 9 distinguished teacher ministers. This evening, we celebrate excellence in Catholic education by recognizing these leading teachers who live out our Catholic school educators' credo. As Catholic school educators, we believe our Catholic school is not only a school, but a community of faith. We believe those entrusted to us are not only students, but children of God. We believe we are not only educators, but ministers of the gospel. We believe the values we teach are not only character development, but a call to holiness. We believe our courses of study are not only academic pursuits, but a search for truth. We believe the purpose of education is not only for personal growth and the development of society, but for the transformation of the world. Our deepest thanks to the Golden Apple honorees for modeling their Catholic faith each day and for advancing our common mission to foster holy disciples, holy families, and holy vocations so as to become an ever more holy Diocese of Toledo.
Our diocesan credo is a wonderful reminder of who I am called to be, especially as I serve in the classroom each day. I would like to reflect on the first part of the credo through the lens of our school's recent journey through death to resurrection. 2 years ago, one of my students, Jack, was battling brain cancer. Diagnosed at age 6, he was fighting hard. His parents told me they weren't worried about the 3rd grade curriculum. They wanted him to be Jack and know joy, not be the boy with cancer. Jack's journey had already impacted our students. They were his cheerleaders, his prayer squad, his friends. When he had another unplanned brain surgery, we made and sent him Jokes for Jack videos. We emailed our Christian music song of the day. And as he was dying, we often faced his home, lifted our hands, and sent his family God's light and peace. We prayed, sang, and wept at a school prayer service on October 2nd, the morning after he died. We gathered for his memorial mass and celebrated his eternal joy. Yes, we are a community of faith. Jack was my student, but more importantly, a precious child of God. In addition to the gift of Jack in my life, I feel extremely blessed to teach religion, language arts, and social studies at Leal. I love the ability in our faith-based environment to relate everything to Jesus and his message. I love to use novels that probe students to think beyond their own circumstances, to recognize and name affronts to human dignity, and to envision the world through Jesus' eyes. How blessed I am, not just to be a teacher, but a minister of the gospel.
Sister Anne Marie has been a fabulous teacher here at Leal Catholic School, and every child feels so loved by her. She makes every child feel like an individual, an important individual, and she respects them where they're at, and from that point she moves them forward to being their personal best. She's so kind and so gentle and so funny. It's just really good it's a safe place to be yourself in Sister Anne Marie's spot.
The thing that I will probably most remember about Sister Anne Marie is the wonderful lessons she teaches. She never picks any subjects that are boring and nobody wants to listen to. She always finds the most interesting subjects to teach us about.
I am a Catholic school educator who believes that our school is built on faith, caring, and trust. I believe parents honor us at our school by allowing us the privilege to be their child's teacher. They know their child will be taught faith-based life skills that are needed for success. This prepares them spiritually, socially, and mentally to become leaders. I recently implemented student council at our school. I feel it's a strong way, a great way for our students to develop into the leaders our world needs. Our school is not just a building with learners, but a faith-filled, friendly, and happy community. I believe I was called by God to teach, not for my personal gain, but to help our world become a peaceful and better world. My motto is, learn it, love it, live it.
When I think of Mrs. Smith, I think of her rapport with all ages of people. She just, and the helpfulness that's innate in her character. She's very much immersed in Catholic education, and she cares about our school and our parish, and we're just glad to have her here.
Mrs. Smith helped us this year by starting up student council and making sure that we have enough leadership that we could start this again and make sure that we have so much control over what we're doing this year. I have a lot of pride showing that I can lead the school in some sort of way and show that I can do what I have done for the school.
My favorite thing about Mrs. Smith is when we read a lot of books, she lets us be the teacher for the day.
We are not only educators, but ministers of the gospel. Relevance is so important when teaching my students. Jesus used the parables to teach those who listen to him, and I present the course of study in a way that is relevant to my students. I guide my students to understand that when we commit a sin, it is important that we learn from our mistakes and do better the next time. One of my favorite activities is about washing away our sins and making it relevant through the use of toilet paper. Yes, toilet paper. Students write down a sin on a piece of toilet paper, brainstorm ways to react better the next time, put a red X through the sin, and then we flush it down the toilet. This gives me the opportunity to explain that Jesus washes us free of our sin when we are truly sorry. My road to special education has taught me that every student has a God-given talent, and my job is to ignite that talent in my students. It amazes me that when a child finds success in their God-given grace, that success does overflow into other areas of their lives and builds confidence. My end goal for each student is that they can go out and change the world.
Well, I think Mrs. Elwer deserves a golden apple because she is a teacher leader at Delphos St. John's, not only in the elementary school, but she teaches students K through 12. She has started a program called the Susan Barton Reading Program for students with dyslexia, and so that has just really opened the door for instructing and educating kids that we just haven't been able to meet their needs in the past. And so by starting that program right there is just something that really I feel like Mrs. Elwer is very deserving of the golden apple.
In Miss O's class, I've learned that she likes to have fun, and
Mrs. Orr is my favorite class.
It is with God's amazing grace and blessings that I am able to minister to my students and make the Credo come alive in my classroom. At the beginning of the school year, I center many of our activities on teaching the life skills. This includes a visual representation of a biblical character that portrays each life skill. I read a short story from the Bible, and the students role play different situations in the story. We have a bulletin board that stays up all year promoting these positive behaviors. It says, "We are bucket fillers." The goal of being a bucket filler is to perform small acts of kindness to bring about a little more of God's kingdom here on earth. My students are very enthusiastic about being bucket fillers for Jesus. It definitely promotes a positive classroom environment where compassion, love, and acceptance is clearly visible.
Jody is well known. She has taught here 30-some years, and the children love her because she respects and loves them. As I said, she radiates Christ, and the children absorb that, and they in turn go home with their marvelous religion lessons and teach their parents amazing things at the supper table.
When we fill the bucket, Mrs. Guilford, when we have to put a letter in the bucket, that's when we did something good.
When students walk into my classroom, we are not only identified as 7JJ, but we become the 7JJ family. My expectation is that everyone in 7JJ is treated with respect and dignity. Leading by example and showing each student respect allows them to see the importance of living their faith. For example, a former student of mine recently enrolled in the United States Marine Corps. Before Christmas, his father contacted me and asked if my class would write letters to Matt, as he would be away at boot camp from his family over Christmas. When I told my class about this, they instantly wanted to send Christmas cards in support of Matt and to let him know that he was in our prayers. Matt sent a return letter in Thanksgiving to my class, as well as a return letter to me. After his graduation, Matt fulfilled his promise and came back to visit. As I was teaching, my door opened and I was brought to tears by the sight of my former challenging student in his dress blues. Teaching my students about Jesus' life is the absolute best part of my day. Jesus is the perfect role model for my students who are desperately yearning for guidance. Teaching the standards is my job. However, if one of my students is struggling with an issue inside or outside of school, my plan for the day is useless. Each morning, my class offers intentions for those in need of prayer. Knowing that a classroom of children's prayers is flooding heaven diminishes the feeling of helplessness and offers a sense of peace. I am truly blessed each day to teach at St. Joseph's. I have the wonderful opportunity and awesome privilege to not only educate, but using the values embodied within the Catholic faith, provide a moral foundation that will help guide my students for a lifetime.
She joined our staff in 2003, and every year has been a year of growth for Jessica. She's a talented, gifted instructor, and she is a teacher whose compassion and care for her students is profound.
She's just great because she treats us like we're her own bear cubs, like how she always says her mama bear instincts will come out, so she'll always protect us in times of bad situations or anything that we'll need, and she'll always comfort us in any situation, and she's just great.
Making our credo come alive in my classroom has always been easy. It's something that's just part of who I am. I am not simply an educator, which we all know there is certainly nothing simple about that, but rather I have a greater calling. I am not called only to impart character building and 21st century knowledge, but to be a minister of the gospel, to help students search for truth through God's teachings. I was given a gift to teach and help students learn about God and follow in Jesus' footsteps. As each one has received a gift, minister it to one another as good stewards of the manifold grace of God. That's Peter chapter 4, verse 10. Together with my students, we build much more than knowledge and character. We build faith in God and in ourselves as we work together, forming ourselves as saints. I want my students to understand that their hopes and dreams of the future are not simply to amass wealth and knowledge, but to use their gains to help change the world, to be God's hands, feet, and mind here on earth, to better the world and bring God's will to this world.
Miss Paul is an amazing gift to St. Kateri Catholic Academy. She teaches our root beliefs and core values every day and exhibits the faith to her students in everything she does.
My favorite thing about Miss Paul is that she's funny and friendly.
I will always remember Miss Paul because of her jokes. She always makes us laugh.
Miss Paul is a great teacher because she just makes everything so much fun to learn, and it makes me want to go to school.
I feel blessed and privileged because every day I can practice my faith and I can talk about God. Every day I challenge my students to be the best they can be spiritually and academically. We are not only a school but a faith-filled community where we care about each other. Several years ago I started a group called SAM, and it stands for Student Activities Motivators. It's a secret group. Nobody knows who we are till the end of the year. These students write positive, uplifting notes and they place them on their fellow students' lockers. SAM touches everybody because we make sure we hit every student in this school throughout the year. My Students in Action Club started a knitting club. We knit scarves and hats for the homeless here in Lima. It not only includes my students, but we have included parents, grandparents, friends of LCC. Anyone is welcome to knit scarves, and then we, like I said, we donate them to homeless shelters, the Lima Mission. This is an ongoing thing, so we have parents that have donated knitting needles, they've donated yarn. We've actually, in my team leadership class, taught the students to knit. As a teacher, it's important for me to model the Christian faith, to talk about Jesus, to have discussions on world events and morality. When my students graduate, I want them to know that I care about them. I expect them to be God-loving, honest, hardworking citizens. I am blessed because teaching is not just my job, it's my life. I almost cried.
I think Barb Smitterbush deserves the Golden Apple Award for many reasons. I actually had the privilege of having Barb as a teacher when I was in high school at Lima Central Catholic, and now she's a co-worker. And Barb is just one of those go-to people. She's always willing to say yes to anything and everything that's asked of her.
In Mrs. Smitterbush's leadership class, she's taken it to a whole another level. She really pushes us to go out and volunteer in the community.
She teaches us that, not everything is about you, not everything can benefit you. You need to benefit other people and do things for other people.
She teaches us so much and just giving us advice inside and outside of the classroom. She is just a great person all around. We love being with her.
When reading and reciting the Credo, I draw a parallel to my role as a Catholic school educator to that of the Holy Trinity. Just as it is impossible to separate the Holy Trinity into three separate parts, it is impossible to separate the educator half from the Catholic half. The educator half and the Catholic half are intertwined, making each of us responsible for the formation of the whole child into a disciple that knows, loves, and serves God to their greatest potential, both intellectually and spiritually. In addition, every part of the Credo is equally intertwined, woven together to create a blossoming classroom community, dedicated to exploring the wonders of God's creation together. This was evident firsthand in the development of our Monarch Butterfly Rescue Garden. Using Pope Francis's Laudato Si as our inspiration, we explored in each lesson of the unit the wonders of God's creation. and especially the wonder of the creation of the monarch butterfly. Using the STREAM model, incorporating science, technology, religion, engineering, the arts, and mathematics model to make interdisciplinary connections to drive the instruction. Using this holistic approach to teaching is what I believe to be the essence of our credo, and it is what I believe to be the best framework in which to deliver excellence in education to our 21st century learners. As a Catholic school educator, I've been given a great gift. I've been given the gift of being able to synchronize these two halves, the educator half and the Catholic half, each and every day, in order to fulfill those belief statements in the credo so that I may meet my obligations to my students, my families, my parish, my community, my world, and to myself as a child of God.
Mrs. Taylor is an incredible, kind, compassionate teacher who lives her faith just by being who she is. She loves her students. The parents come back that had her, and now the children have her, and it's wonderful because you can see how strong of an impact her faith had, and it's just carrying through generations.
My favorite thing is being in Mrs. Taylor class is that we always have fun when she teaches us, and she do fun teaching games, and it's just the funnest place you can ever be.
Our school motto is building smart disciples. I do everything that I can to create those disciples. My students see me go to Mass every day. They hear me talk enthusiastically about our faith. They know I'm willing to talk about difficult topics. Students know I care about their faith life and the impact they have now and will have on our world. In my role as teacher, I assist my students in their search for truth by providing retreat opportunities. The 6th grade travels to Bellevue to Sorrowful Mother's Shrine, and the 7th grade visits Cary, Our Lady of Consolation, for prayer and retreat. The 8th grade attends the Chrism Mass at the Rosary Cathedral. Being able to give our students these various experiences only enforces their individual searches for truth of their faith. I incorporate language arts assignments into religion assignments with reflection activities in the classroom. This reinforces our priority for not only academic pursuits, but a search for truth. In this search, I embrace our goal as a diocese for inclusive education. I believe that all are welcome. I have pride in the educationally diverse students we have in our school. I lead my students in their call to holiness. When I organize our vocations fair, inviting representatives from about 30 different religious and missionary organizations to meet with our school children is only one part of our vocation celebration. They celebrate Mass with the bishop and our parish, and then visit with students. The event ends with the participants having lunch with the 8th graders. It is a powerful way to expose our school community to the values our faith holds dear.
Mrs. Zabak's very kind, very compassionate. She's very much also a team player. She wants to help in any way, shape, or form. The best thing that I could say about anybody is that they truly live their faith. So what we practice is an all-encompassing type of environment that all are welcomed, and that's Mrs. Zabak, and that sums her up to the greatest extent.
Mrs. Zabak doesn't give us homework on the weekends because on Saturday she wants us to focus on our family, and on Sundays she wants us to focus on God.
Mrs. Zabak takes us we went to the Cary trip, and she wasn't there, but she was her idea, and it was a great idea to go. It's a great experience. We got to learn more about Jesus in the big church, and we got to see Cary, Ohio, and walk the Station of the Cross, which was very cool.